you gotta be sneaky. Hey guys, it's me again, Douglas, and I've talked to you guys before, a few times actually, about letting your light shine, about showing your good works, doing what is right in front of people so that they can see what God is like, showing His love to other people. Yeah, it's really important because people are looking to us, people are looking to Christians to show them what God is like. And so it's up to us to show them God's love. If you call yourself a Christian, if you believe in Jesus Christ, you have a big responsibility. It's really important for us to show people what God is like through our words and actions. But did you know that there are some times that you're supposed to not do good stuff in front of people? There are times where when you do something good, you're supposed to be secret about it. You're supposed to be super, super sneaky about it. Living God's way is best for us, and it's best for those around us. The stuff that God tells us to do, He doesn't just tell us to do it because He wants to, ruin our fun or something like that. He tells us to do what's right because He knows it'll turn out. He knows the best way to live. He knows the best things to do, and we need to obey Him and follow Him if we want what's best for us and for others. But it's important for us to recognize that it's not just what we do that is important. It's also very important why we do what we do. So I've talked before about the verse that says that we should let our light so shine before men so that they will see our good works and glorify our Father in heaven. But in the same book, just a little bit after that, Jesus also says, beware of practicing your righteousness, your good works, before men to be noticed by them. Otherwise you will have no reward with your Father who is in heaven. And Jesus said that when you give to the poor, you shouldn't sound a trumpet and let everybody know what you're doing, but instead you should do it in secret. You should not even let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. Because God, who knows everything that goes on in secret, will reward you for what you have done in secret. If you do what is good so that people will notice you, that's the only reward you're going to get, people noticing you. And in case you're thinking, oh, well, I'm fine with that, don't be. Because what God has planned for those who do what is right is so much better than what the world could ever offer. Also, a huge reason why you are supposed to do what is right is so that people will see what God is like. They will glorify God. If you do what is right so that people will glorify you, that's wrong. Now, it's important to point out that I have a tendency, and I think a lot of us have a tendency to use this verse, to use this concept to not do what we're supposed to do, right? Like we think, oh, I'd really like to help this person out, but I really don't want to be, showy or something. And we think that we're being pious or good or something, but really deep down, it's just that we really don't want to do the good thing. We really don't want to be helpful, and we want an excuse, like a good excuse. So we can get out of doing what is right and also feel good about it by making this excuse that, well, the only way that I could help them would be in front of people, and so I'm just not going to help them. That's really the good thing to do. Don't use this as an excuse. This is a guide. If you can do what is good and be sneaky about it, be sneaky about it. But if you cannot be sneaky about doing good, do good anyways. Just watch your heart. Make sure you don't get too attached to how people treat you when you do what is right. Instead, think about what God thinks. You can totally do stuff for God's approval. You absolutely should do that. Just recognize that you can't earn His love. He loves you no matter what. And recognize that chasing after people's approval is a trap. That'll get you in trouble just about every time. This one time I was at school and I forgot my lunch. I kind of forget my lunch kind of often. And usually my mom notices and reminds me, but if she also forgets, which isn't near as often, then I just don't have my lunch at school. At the cafeteria, you can buy a lunch, and you can either buy a lunch for the whole year or you can buy it just one at a time. And normally I bring my lunch and I don't buy the lunch. And at the beginning of the day, I noticed that I didn't have my lunch, and I pointed it out to a few people, and we kind of laughed about it. And I had mentioned, I'm going to have to buy a lunch, but I'm not sure how I'm going to do it because I didn't bring any money with me. But I kind of figured that I could, go to the cafeteria. And, it's not like they don't know who I am or who my parents are. Like we're on the list, right? Like we're in the system. And so I figured that if I went to the cafeteria and told them my name and my parents' names, then they could just bill my parents or something like that. I figured we'd be able to work something out. And so that day at lunch, I went to the line and I went to, get some food, and I went to the lady behind the counter and I told her, that I had forgotten my food and that my name was Douglas. And she said, oh yeah, somebody paid for your lunch today. And I was like, who? And she said, I'm not supposed to tell you. And I was like, wow, that's so nice. And it really was. It was very, very nice of whoever did that for me. I was really grateful to them, and I wanted to figure out who it was. And so I went and I sat down and I was looking at my friends, trying to figure out who had bought my lunch. And I couldn't figure it out. But then eventually I just realized God bought my lunch. And he did. I don't think that it was necessarily like he sent an angel down and the angel was like, here, lunch lady, use this money to pay for Douglas lunch. No, I don't think it was quite like that. I'm pretty sure it was one of my friends, but really it was God. And so I thanked God for giving me my lunch, and I thanked him for whoever it was that he used to buy my lunch. God uses us to help people. He wants us to be his hands and his feet. He wants us to show his kindness to other people. And we should do what God wants us to do so that people can see God's love in action. And if you can help it, do it in secret. Because honestly, if I knew who had bought my lunch, I probably would have been like, kind of hanging on them, being like, oh, I'm so thank you so much for doing that. You really didn't have to. And I'd probably try to, pay them back or things like that. But now the way that it is, I just have God to thank. And that's the way it should be. And even though I can't pay back whoever it is that bought my lunch, God will. And what God has to offer is so much better than anything I could give in return. And online especially, it seems there are so many people who are doing good things, right? They're good things that they're doing, but then they're taking pictures or videos and being like, ta-da, look what I'm doing. Huh? And they're like just hunting for likes. If you do what is right because you're hunting for likes, that's all you're ever going to get. God doesn't look at that and say, wow, good job. You might get a bunch of humans to click a little heart button, but God is not impressed. And it would have been so much better to still do that good thing, but do it in private. So my challenge to you guys today is that you would do what is good. And if you can, do it secretly. Because in the end, we want people to glorify God, not us. But also don't let this idea of, we should do what is good, but do it in secret. Don't let that stop you from doing what is right. Don't let it stop you from doing what is good. If you can do it in secret, do it in secret. If you can't, still do what is good. Still do what is right. Still show God's love. If you can, hide your good works. Hey guys, I hope you liked this video. And yeah, this was kind of like a series, but it's just 2-part episode. Because in the one episode, the last episode I talked about how you should show your good works. And in this one, I talked about how you should hide your good works. And I did them one right after another because, well, that's how I found them in the Bible, right? If you read Matthew, you'll find the verse that says, let your light so shine before men that they'll see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. And then if you keep reading, you'll find the verse where Jesus also says, beware of practicing your righteousness before men to be noticed by them. And so it's sort of like the Bible is saying, do one thing and do the opposite of that thing. But really, it's about your heart, and it's about the circumstance. It's about where you are and how you feel, that sort of thing. The whole point is you should do what is good. And if you do what is good so that other people will notice, that's not good. Just do what is good. And if you can, hide your good works. So that the only person that the person you helped has to thank is God. Because that's really who deserves the praise.